awesome date. Sometime in the future, the far-flung future, where aliens roam, and even if you can fight like a Krogan and run like a leopard, you will never be better than Commander Shepard. This is the OSMcast.
What are you doing? Scanning.
Hey yo, BC, the turntable biotic. Hit him with the good stuff, God.
Probe away.
I'm Commander Shepard.
Probe away.
You want to see if I've got the minerals?
Probe away.
I'm Commander Shepard.
Probe away.
Surely got those.
Hi, folks, and welcome back to the OSMcast, the podcast for everything awesome, and then some, and occasionally a little less. I'm Basil.
I'm Kevin.
And with us through the tubes of the internet, all the way to New York, is...
Alan Mendez, otherwise known as Hisui from the Reverse Thieves blog and Speakeasy podcast.
And we are joining up today because, sadly, this is one of the few podcasts I'm really sad will no longer have Eric for, because he was the really, really big Mass Effect fan in my life that wasn't me or Kevin. Or Lee, but I'm pretty sure Lee hasn't played it yet. But we will be eventually diving into the craziness that is Mass Effect 3, the good, the bad, the ending, all of that. But our normal thing where we'll talk about the game sort of in much more generalities without spoilers, then we'll do spoilers, and it's all be fun, and no one's going to cry much. But until then, we got lots of other stuff to talk about. For one thing, we have websites. The OSMcast, awesomecast.com, OSMcast.com. We have an email, awesomecast@gmail.com. Leave comments in the comments section. We like all of these things. I hear the Reverse Thieves have a website.
Yes, it is reversethieves.com, and it is cool. It is a detective-themed anime blog where we usually post a minimum of 2 times a week, as many as 6, and we are mostly a cool website, although I used to joke that we were a Type Moon-themed website, but the fact that our tags right only below detective is Type Moon.
So it's sort of you doth protest a little bit too much.
Yeah, now I think I've taken it to the point where it actually is kind of secondarily a Type Moon podcast because I talk about it enough.
Well, I keep Kevin nicely in line, so that never happens to us. Like he goes, well, I don't like to talk about,
Well, new season of Fate Zero coming up.
Did you see all the April Fools?
I have not seen any April Fools for it.
Type Moon on their webpage had a thing for, I think, medicinal space-made kohaku.
Okay.
Which is a weird kind of Type Moon Star Wars movie poster.
I have to try to find that.
And the Fate Zero website had Tank Man. Which was on Type Moon's website, I think last year, or 2 years ago, because last year was the Twitter feed, where it's all about how Fate Zero Rider is a military otaku who goes on 2chan to try to romance, gender swap, Waver Velvet.
Oh, I guess kind of like Densho Toko, but
yes.
He's a tank nut, not a train nut. Okay, that does make sense.
I'm now getting really confused, and this doesn't sound nothing like Google doing Dragon Quest with Google Maps, which was the best thing ever.
I just saw that. My roommate just found that.
Oh, that's great. Also, look for the Assassin's Creed by way of Connect. That one was also most excellent.
I have a tendency to kind of bury my head in the sand April Fool's Day, because always something burns me. Like, I walk into something that I thought was real and totally isn't.
Like the European cover for Aladdin for 3DS. Yeah. Screw you, whoever made that.
To tell somebody's embarrassing stories, Kate went to look for something on Tokyo Toshicon and saw we've been taken down by the FBI page, and she basically ran to her boyfriend online and was like, I need to find this thing, but this site is down, where can I find it? And he was like, you do realize what today is? And she's like, no.
That is the most accurate Kate impression I've ever heard. And now that I've admitted that, we're all doomed.
Yeah, pretty much. I mean, I will die the minute she hears this, but you guys at least have a few months before Otakon where she kills you there.
Oh, see, I'm totally dodging Otakon this year because of funds and my best friend's getting married, and so I'm spending money on that instead.
Yeah, that's kind of a big deal.
They're having a Renaissance festival wedding in another state, and so I'm spending money on my fancy pants Renaissance outfit and getting over there to the place where they're going to have it. It's going to be good times, but it took away all my Otakon monies.
Also, Otakon is a trip, no matter how you slice it.
Look,
It's true.
you don't have to spend a lot of money on a fancy outfit for a Renaissance wedding. Just say you're a guy from the future visiting it at a Renaissance wedding.
Oh, no. This outfit, it's already half I paid for. It's going to be wonderfully fancy, and it'll give me an outfit for every other Renaissance festival or anime con where I feel like being a stupid idiot who wears outfits that aren't actually from an anime.
Yeah, statistically, this will be our second group of friends to get married at a Renaissance festival, so it's becoming a thing. We may need more.
We'll see. But we have had websites, we've talked about it, and Renaissance festivals, and how, good luck, we may never, well, no one may, well, no, people will hear this. This might be the last podcast ever because Kate might kill us.
Yes.
So on that note, moments of awesome.
It's a moment of awesome.
So
It's a thing.
on that note,
That's what we do.
who wants to go first?
I will talk about what I just watched tonight, which is pretty awesome, and streaming legally, so everybody can see it.
Sweet.
I just saw Space Brothers, which is based on a popular seinen manga and is now an anime, and it's streaming on Crunchyroll. It is the show for people who want Planet Ace, but no longer can watch Planet Ace.
It does. Yeah, okay, I can kind of see that.
Oh, I have to watch this immediately.
I saw this. And it's like no one's gotten into space really yet, so I don't know. But it's a very realistic. It's slightly in the future, but it's very much grounded in realism kind of space exploration. Well, really, it's just about two brothers. They just both want to be astronauts.
But I think that's just this kind of one of those genres that a lot of the older fans feel like has kind of went away. This kind of seinen-y and space. And I know that it won Kate for the opening song had started. Just like the first 5 minutes, how they tell a story and just the story they were telling, and just won her over instantly.
Actually, in the first few minutes before the opening credits, I'm like, wait a minute. Is this a sports anime? I thought this was a space anime.
There's the other way you can do it, which is Moonlight Mile, which is watch people doing it and then they want to go to space.
Yeah.
Funnily enough, the main character, his voice actor, was Lost Man from Moonlight Mile.
I saw the first episode. I liked the older brother just because he seemed a little bit perpetually down on his luck and nothing quite worked out for him.
And his voice actor is also Wild Tiger.
Oh, I thought he sounded familiar. So, yeah, there you go. It's Wild Tiger's voice actor's in there, and that's just the best thing ever.
There we go. Well, I needed a new space thing that was more realistic. I mean, I already ran out of Planetes, ran out of the anime, I ran out of the manga. Twin Speak It just wrapped up in America.
Mm-hmm.
I need a new thing that involves space, but actual space. Because Bodacious Space Pirates, while good and in space, it's, your super futuristic super futuristic space.
Yes.
And not quite our level of tech. We're a little above space.
Yeah. Although I'm surprised how much Bodacious Space Pirates has hard sci-fi elements. I'm surprised how much of that is in there. But
And I am the only person who does not like that show.
well, you're probably not the only person. Just both me and Basil like it.
Speaking of things that are totally not, I was going to use my spot to sort of point out to people that there's a couple of video games for the Wii coming out. In fact, I think by the time you listen to this, one of them will already be out, which is Xenoblade Chronicles. And the next one up after that is Last Story. These are both, well, I can't say it for sure for Last Story, although it's Mistwalker by Sakaguchi, the wonderful man who brought us Final Fantasy and Lost Odyssey, and also Blue Dragon.
Yeah, nothing wrong with Blue Dragon.
It's just no Lost Odyssey.
No, it's not. But there's nothing wrong with it. It's okay. It's decent. It's got some really good parts to it.
We're getting that, but we're also getting Xenoblade, which is by Monolith Soft, who made Xenosaga, and a lot of the same people who made Xenogears. And it's totally not like Xenosaga.
No.
Except in the ways that it's like Xenosaga.
Well, yeah, if you played Xenogears or Xenosaga, you will find some similar story elements.
Control is much more almost Western design. It's almost MMO-ish.
Yeah, it almost feels like it's what the sequel to Final Fantasy XII would have been in a lot of ways.
It is a story that revolves around synthetics versus organics in a much more Japanese-style take on it than possibly something we might be discussing later on on the podcast,
And it has Norio Wakamoto.
which never hurts. But the game is gargantuan. I feel that in some cases it makes Skyrim feel a little bit small. This is a Wii game, but the vistas this thing outputs,
Yeah.
it's pretty amazing. The backstory is there is this gigantic organic god and this gigantic metal god, and they fought. And they fought and fought, and eventually impaled each other on their own swords and died. And that's the world you play on.
You're on the bodies of two dead gods.
And so one town might be in like the crook between like, the elbow or the arm raised or something. Or, someone else might be in the knee. And you can kind of tell that these are the actual body parts, but they actually look like lands and vast plains and stuff. And you can just see out into the distance. And just the sense of scale they pushed in this this 2-year-old Wii game is kind of amazing.
It's easily one of the most visually impressive Wii games.
I really highly recommend it, and I'm really looking forward to Last Story. And so if you've never really looked into these games, please do. I believe they are both going to be extremely awesome.
And they still haven't said anything about Pandora's Tower, right?
Whatever.
I heard that was the weakest of the three, though.
Yeah, I have too, and I
wouldn't complain if it came out. I probably would even buy it, but I can live without.
Yeah, me too. I mean, I would if they release it, I'll buy it. I will certainly give it a shot.
I am always up to encouraging Nintendo to give me more RPGs.
But I've been really looking forward to Last Story, and I tried out Xenoblade when I had a chance, and I came away extremely impressed.
I played all the way through the European version of Xenoblade, had to mod my Wii to do it, but now I'm playing to buy the real version.
So it is highly recommended, and I'm sure there'll be an awesome cast about at least Xenoblade, possibly also Last Story. Hell, I still need to do one on Lost Odyssey. Anyways, Kevin, it's your go.
Oh, geez, we come back around to me. Well, I don't know. I've been playing a lot of Tales of Graces recently. Tales of Graces F properly.
Which started out as a Wii game.
Yes. Although the Tales of Graces F is a PS3 game, it's kind of like whenever a Tales game goes to another system, they put more stuff into it. I believe they put in additional abilities. They put in an extra epilogue that's apparently like 10 to 17 hours. That apparently makes the story make sense. Apparently that was a weakness of the Wii version.
Interesting.
I don't know. I like it. It's a Tales game. It's pretty. It's got an interesting, diverse cast of characters. It does have an interesting little bit where you play most of the protagonists as children for several hours, and then they kind of grow up into teenagers, young adults in a time skip. But all the events in their childhood are actually really important to the rest of the game.
That they all went to the same orphanage?
No, but several of the protagonists all met each other in their childhood. And there's some events that are probably pretty damn spoilerific, even though they're just in the first couple hours, but that influence their lives greatly during the time skip before they meet back up again. And it has Pascal, who's the most wonderfully insane, mad genius girl character in any Tales game, and that includes Rita and Vesperia.
Well, I also learned that even she's not as crazy as, say, Jade was in Abyss. I swear, the more I play it, the more I really do think, and I actually mentioned this previous podcast, featuring Daryl Surratt of Any World Order, and Caleb, the friend of mine who watched Ghost Rider with me, that Abyss and Vesperia more or less use the same story playbook.
Yeah.
And in many ways, it really does feel like Abyss did it better. Now I'm thinking about, I think of Vesperia, I think after Abyss, I did Legendia and a couple of others that didn't do nearly as well.
I remember Legendia, then Vesperia, but maybe I missed. Or I guess there was a sequel to Symphonia on Wii.
We didn't get all of them.
We missed a couple that didn't come to the U.S. Like there's the DS one, and I don't know.
And a lot of them didn't do well. In Japan. And I have a feeling they went back to what was the last one that did really well, Abyss. Okay, let's take what we did on that one. Let's do it. Put it on 360 and make it pretty.
And they did.
That's how we got Vesperia, and I'm hoping that Graces isn't more Abyss. But the way you've already described it doesn't sound like it.
It's different.
Okay, does it have a commandant?
Does it have a commandant? Well, there's the cool...
Is there someone who's called a commandant? Yes or no?
I've not seen the term specifically, no.
Awesome.
Although I could have maybe just not remembered it.
I don't want to hear anymore.
Yeah.
We're good.
I have one complaint about the game, and it's not really anything to do with the gameplay, is the ridiculously expensive DLC that's basically just costumes that they don't really make clear if you can get them in the game or not.
If it's anything like Vesperia, you can.
But that aside, that's totally optional. It doesn't really Well, you do get some minor stat bonuses from the titles because the way you get skills in the game is by equipping titles.
It's not like, oh, the only way to get this one party member is to get DLC or...
Not yet, not like Hyperdimension Neptunia, which I do love, but I hate their having to buy characters feature.
But I think Alan was referring to something else entirely.
Well, yes. Oh, well, you're probably referring to...
Actually, what brought it into my head was people talking about Street Fighter and Street Fighter vs. Capcom. But it also does lead well into...
to Mass Effect 3. So,
Shepard.
now we will get our discussions of Mass Effect 3.
From Omega to Mars, from the council to the seediest bars, from the reaches of space to the pillars of a sorry grace. There are battle wombitarians lacking in humility, Turians are bragging about their reach and flexibility. The clutter of the city spreads to the lowliest stars. But no matter what scars you bear, whatever uniform you wear, you can fight like a Krogan, run like a leopard, but you'll never be better than Commander Shepard. In the Citadel's halls, inside the shining walls, hear the stories from Earth. Fighters wanna prove their worth. Solarian science smothered in idiom about a stimulating a scanning for iridium. But one tale holds every mind enthralled. 'Cause no matter what scars you bear, whatever uniform you wear, you can fight like a Krogan, run like a leopard, but you'll never be better than Commander Shepard. No matter what scars you bear, whatever uniform you wear, you can fight like a Krogan, run like a leopard, but you'll never be better than Commander Shepard. You can fight like a Krogan, run like a leopard, but you'll never be better than Commander Shepard. You can fight like a Krogan, run like a leopard, but you'll never be better than Commander Shepard. Never be better than Commander Shepard. Never be better than Commander Shepard. Yeah. Never be better than Commander Shepard. Never be better than Commander Shepard. Assuming control.
So there might be this game series you may have heard of called Mass Effect by this no-name company called BioWare, published by this even more unknown name called Electronic Arts.
And it was just a game that happened to be in like Forbes and the Wall Street Journal and like every other major publication when it came out at least ran an article on it.
Oh, yes.
But now you're getting to the definitive take on Mass Effect 3, which is, of course, the OSMcast, which is always the definitive word on everything we talk about ever.
Yeah.
Except sometimes I'll reprise my thoughts on other podcasts like the amazing manga and anime combination known as Kakaishi, which you can get the redefinitive word on the Speakeasy podcast. But no, Mass Effect 3. It is the third game in a trilogy from BioWare. We have talked about Mass Effects 1 and 2 on this podcast. It is a wonderful video game series. My second favorite this gen new IP. My first favorite is Assassin's Creed.
Okay, yeah, I can see that.
But right behind it, even now, is still Mass Effect. And the third game is a culmination of many things.
Yeah, I think I probably like Mass Effect. Even after 3, I'd probably like Mass Effect better than Assassin's Creed. But those would probably be my top 2 also. Kind of funny when I stop to think about that.
Quick tangent. Had any of you guys played the older BioWare games like KOTOR?
Most of them. Yeah, I've played the Knights of the Old Republic, a little bit of Baldur's Gate, although that was actually in recent years.
The only BioWare games I've not tried were the Old Republic games. I have done Baldur's Gate. I did some of the other Black Isle stuff, like Icewind Dale.
Oh, yeah. I have.
I did both Neverwinter Nights games. I've played the Old Republic, the MMO, but the only thing I did Jade Empire.
Yeah.
The only thing I have not played is KOTOR, because at the time I did not own a computer that can run it or an Xbox. And even Jade Empire, I just happened to be borrowing an Xbox at the time when it came out.
Yeah. My case, I haven't played Knights of the new MMO. I've not played that, but I think I've played just about everything else BioWare has made.
But no, I am very much a BioWare fan.
Because I played Knights of the Old Republic and I played Jade Empire, and then everybody was like, "Hey, you can skip KOTOR 2."
That's probably true, so they mostly outsourced that one.
Well, that's a weird one, is that I have a feeling that a lot of people, except for the ending, think of that, I hear it's a very good game.
Yeah, I actually agree with that.
But from what I understand, they literally, before they had a chance to finish the ending themselves, they were like, yeah, ship this.
Yeah, that's kind of a problem with that one. But, the ride's good. And, well, actually, that's kind of how I feel about Mass Effect 3, is the ride to the ending was really good. But,
And I think that's really the trick of Mass Effect 3, is that, like I said, it's a culmination of a lot of things. The Reapers are finally making their attack. And by the way, I expect that if you're listening to this, you've played, or at least listened to our podcasts about Mass Effects 1 and 2 in their entirety. So. And so, while I will not spoil Mass Effect 3, I will be spoiling 1 and 2.
I can't even imagine what if you were a person who never played Mass Effect 1 or 2, and you picked up Mass Effect 3 in the store. I cannot imagine what you were thinking when you started playing that. That must make no damn sense whatsoever.
Supposedly, BioWare says, where it's up and down, that if you've never played Mass Effect, 3 is an excellent time to start playing. That is bullshit.
I'd say go find Mass Effect 2. It's cheap at the very least. Go find Mass Effect 2 at the very least. It's pretty cheap. So is Mass Effect 1 for that matter. But
if you want the complete experience without playing Mass Effect 1, go ahead and buy Mass Effect 2 on PS3.
Yeah.
Which gives you the audio comic book thingy that gets you at least the story of Mass Effect 1.
Yeah, and it lets you kind of set the variable flags. And heck, to be honest, it lets you kind of set the variable flags however you want before you start 2, which is kind of nice. But
even then, I feel like you miss out on a bunch of it's all the little choices that make such a big deal.
You're right.
Because, I won't spoil too much, but did you meet Connor Vernrad in Mass Effect 3?
That's the sidekick guy, right? The guy, or their equivalent of fanboy.
Yeah.
For Zoid, but in Mass Effect terms. I did not meet him because he was actually one of the few people I somehow missed. I got him in 1, but somehow missed him in 2.
If you meet him in 3, you can get into this conversation tree that checks things from each game, if you've done certain things at each game, and basically changes his conversation and what he gives you based on a whole slew of factors from the whole game.
Yeah. The thing with 3 is that 3 very much takes everything you did in 1 and 2. And one of the things that people kind of, I guess no one ever quite realized it. I kind of did, but it's very much sort of a video game equivalent of a really grand choose-your-own-adventure. The opening is going to be the same, and the ending is going to be the same, more or less. But it's how you get there is what makes it interesting.
Yeah, just even playing 3, I had many moments where I thought, well, what if I had done this instead? Or what if this character wasn't alive at this point?
And you get a lot of options, and it all really depends on what you did in 1 and 2.
Because there's a very real possibility you probably would reset and keep this from happening, but there's a possibility you could come into 3 with several of the characters you meet and interact with totally dead.
And there's also different checkpoints that they tick off. Like, you might say you may save one character from 2, but you didn't complete their loyalty mission.
That might affect their ultimate fate in 3.
That will affect things. Like, I discovered that I felt really bad for one character because what I did in 2, then talked to someone else, and then discovered that was just because how I played it in 2.
Yeah.
And I was very surprised to see that level of granularity in the actual contents of the game.
Yeah, some of it is smoke and mirrors, but they give you these repercussions that make your choose your own adventure choices throughout the game really feel impactful.
Yeah, and it really feels like this is the story that I had input on. I really can't say that it helped craft, but that this is very much the story that has sort of been customized for my enjoyment. It's hitting all the notes for me because these are direct things happen because of the choices I made, and it does, especially throughout 3, the entirety of 3. It constantly does that, and a lot of it is because they do the thing where you get to meet everybody all over again. Throughout 3, where it's like the choice of, well, we could use a new character or we can use an old character. And chances are they'll go with the old character because that means they can use all this stuff. And I've heard complaints on things pro, for, and against, but I really think it's one of those things where, if you think about it, Shepard has always been a big, important person in the Mass Effect world. And that Shepard has always had major repercussions of what happens in this world, as well as the people that he or she affects in a massive scale. Ooh, how about that? And so it would stand to reason that now that everything has hit the fan and it's now a do or die, that a lot of these people are in important positions, are in these positions thanks to Shepard, because Shepard changes the world every time she or he does something.
Yeah, you run into most of your old companions in prominent positions. Or at least important ones.
This is a great show.
Running from people who are in important positions because of things that you had them do.
Yeah.
Well, it's true. And some of them don't want to be in important positions, but they're stuck there anyways.
Yeah. Okay, I basically went Paragon. I've been Paragon for the most part. And still, taking what was the moral high ground choice often had consequences I was not entirely happy with in this game. Unlike the first 2 that tended to work out for you.
Now, I also did mostly Paragon. What did you do, Alan?
I played a mostly Paragon path. My roommate played a Renegade path. So my roommate, it's his game, so I got to see his playthrough first, and then I played my playthrough. I do have to say, we both agreed that overall, there were a lot less totally dick things compared to when picking the Renegade path from 1 and 2. I mean, I think the BioWare games definitely with Mass Effect have a lot less, either save the old lady or shoot her in the head and rob her kind of ethical decisions. But I think they made a lot of the Renegade decisions, the dialogue, a little more relatable in this one.
Well, it's always been more like, do you handle it like Picard or do you handle it like Kirk? Not so much good or evil.
Well, once Kirk got up there in ages, he couldn't be quite the best he used to be. I don't know no, that's not true. He never really stopped being Kirk. Anyways.
Well, do you talk to it, or you talk your way out, or do you shoot your way out? It's often what it becomes is your approach.
Now, there was one instance that I felt that the Renegade option should also be the Paragon option. It was my equivalent of the Krogan headbutt in 2, which I feel was the Paragon and Renegade thing, was to headbutt the Krogan. Both. It should have been Renegade or Paragon. It should have been one or the other. It should have been both. And there is a scene where you're dealing with this one dude who came out from the Matrix, and it's one of the final moments, and there's a Renegade prompt. And really, what should have happened was, on one side should have been Renegade, and one side should have been Paragon, and it should have just worked as long as you touched the button.
I think I know what you're talking about.
You probably do.
It should have just gone slightly differently, whether you pick Paragon or Renegade.
Yeah, but it's one of those cases where I feel that it should be only slightly different, and you should, as long as you press the button, you got something that made that one moment that entire character's purpose fulfilled
Yes.
in my life. It was nothing could go wrong after that day, and then it ended. Anyways, I'm saying anyways a lot this time.
Anyway.
But Mass Effect 3, I feel it is a great ride.
Yeah.
And a lot of really neat things happen. A lot of the big things that you're wondering, are they going to finish up these plot threads? I feel throughout the course of the game, you get a lot of it. The Genophage, you get that. Geth versus Quarians, you get that. Hell, Krogans versus Turians, you get that. Or versus Solarians, you get that.
Yes.
There's just so many different things, and you're going to wonder, well, what happened to these characters? What have they been doing? You get that. Heck, you even get to find out what Jacob's been doing. You know, BioWare obviously cares more about Jacob than anybody else I know.
Yeah, it's like, oh, Jacob's in this game. Yay.
You're like, who are you again?
Who are you?
Jacob.
You're that guy I didn't sleep with. Yeah, I remember you.
Man, why did you pick Jacob when you could have Garrus?
I know, really.
I mean, really.
No. Shepard and Liara, OTP.
Yeah, that was how I played it.
Even Thane, you're like, well, if I only had a choice between Thane and Jacob, definitely Thane.
No, Thane and Garrus, that's a hard choice.
No, Thane was cool. Thane was what if you took Solid Snake and Altair from Assassin's Creed
and made him a lizard man.
Made him a lizard, not a lizard man, but sort of reptilian, sort of just cool, like, alien badass.
Oh yeah, he's vaguely reptilian. He's still kind of got enough human look to him to believe that a human might hook up with him. Yeah.
But I'm gonna pull up the DLC thing now because, guys, if you did not get Javik, you have made a mistake. Javik, the last Prothean, it's right there in the DLC description. He is the best new character in this freaking game.
Yeah, well, I actually got the collector's edition and it came with it, but
were you able to play with Javik?
Yeah. Javik, the space racist.
Yes. Yeah. He's awesome.
He's great.
And you get that cool particle beam rifle.
Like he is so the best character that you get new in that game. He totally became my mainstay. Just everyone's going like, oh, you're a Prothean? And I'm a dick. And it's just great. It's everyone's like, and it totally subverts that whole thing where everyone's like, oh man, everyone in the past are always these wise and great guys, and he's like, no, F that.
The great, wise, and awesome Protheans who knew everything and were so wise and uplifted so many races and gave them so much cool stuff, and they're total dicks with an empire.
We uplifted you so you could serve us better in our empire of semi-evil.
Well, you have to wonder before the Reapers came back, what were they like? Yeah. But it sounded like they're basically space Romans conquering the galaxy. But
well, even his outfit kind of looks kind of Romanesque, but in an alien way.
Well, he was supposed to have samurai-like armor, actually.
I can sort of see that.
I can see that. But regardless, he sounds kind of Jamaican.
Yeah, he's Jamaican, space, Roman, Imperial, Japanese.
And I'm okay with that.
As much as I liked her character, I did like that Javik's whole mission in life seemed to be like, hey, Liara, here are your dreams. Here is me snapping them right in front of you and then throwing them in your face. And then laughing and possibly insulting your whole culture while I do it.
Oh, hey, let me pick those up. Let me snap them again in front of you. Oh, did you know that I can feel things when I touch them? Yes, I'm feeling your despair break as I snap it a third time. Isn't that delightful?
Want to write a book?
Yeah. Let's write a book about how terrible my people were in comparison to what you thought they were. Wouldn't that be nice? Solarians. They used to lick their eyeballs.
I remember when they ate flies.
It was he's frankly a breath of fresh air throughout the whole thing where everyone's like, you're a Prothean? Yep. Really? No, I'm lying. Yes. What's your problem? You never seen a Prothean before?
And he would have been good on Battlestar Galactica because he wanted to throw everybody out of the airlock.
Yeah, totally.
He kind of made up for Legion not really being a controllable character.
He made up for a lot of, like, I guess I got kind of spoiled from 2 because there were twice as many crew members.
Yeah.
In 2, and that suddenly I wanted more aliens.
Yeah.
Like, I really wanted more aliens to be my crew. I mean, and once I really thought about it, it makes sense that your Shepard's a human, and you're on Earth when this happened, so of course you're getting another human crew member, and you're getting one of your original crew members back who was also human. So that's 3 out of the, and in the other technically it's 6 or 7 with Javik. You know, the other 3 are going to be the aliens. And then Javik's another alien. But after 2, and getting a Krogan and a Solarian and the race that Thane is, and also a Quarian and a Turian, like I really was like, man, I need more aliens.
But you have Garrus and Tally. They're constants.
And so just getting Javik, you know, sort of made up for a lot of I want an alien.
And he was wasn't really a new species, but as far as we were concerned, he was new. We hadn't heard the Prothean's point of view, really, you know. And so he was kind of a new character. And he was a new, interesting alien character.
Just quick question: Do either of you think that there will be another DLC character?
It seems like there would be, just going by 2, but who knows?
I would be okay. I don't know if they will. DLC is so weird for me with this series because I've beaten it, and that's technically the end of the story. And so, whereas 2, when I played the DLC right, it was fun because everything I was playing in 2, even with the DLC, was in preparation for 3. And it kind of feels like there's no 4 to be in preparation for. And so what I'm going to get is a lot of either doing more clarifications to the ending, or it's more stuff that would happen during 3. And it only would really make sense if I'm doing it through a whole new playthrough of 3.
Just because I feel like most of the rooms on the ship were taken, but the life support room always stayed empty.
That always stayed empty, and then also the area that below the engine room.
Where Jack used to stay.
Yeah.
And there is one time where, for whatever reason, Javik's hanging out there.
Yeah.
During one in-between set of missions.
And of course, that is, the characters on the ship actually move around the ship sometimes this time, which is interesting. You'll sometimes find them in odd places.
Oh, well, I actually like that a lot. Like, I think they did a really good job of mixing up talking to them as far as learning information from them, but then also just hearing them, A, have random conversations with you, and B, just having random conversations with each other. It really, I thought, brought a whole much more life to the crew.
It is worth it to check your map and see if any of your crew people are hanging out in the non-combat area you're in.
Or also, like, whenever you're on the Citadel, which they really made
your crew,
good use of again on the Citadel.
Your crew actually gets off and wanders around the Citadel. You can go, you'll find them in different places. That's kind of cool. And if they're not in the same place you last saw them in, they probably have new things to say.
Yeah, I thought they did a really good job of just bringing Mass Effect 3 just in general more to life.
Generally, they've been really good about this, but I noticed a lot in Mass Effect 3, there was a lot of, they do in most of the Mass Effects, there's a lot of good background dialogue of the various people you walk by, and like the Citadel, for example. There's like people, and then, you'll wander back by them and they'll basically be continuing the conversation. And there's little stories going on there that are kind of fun to listen to.
And impactful based on stuff you heard previously in the games.
Yeah.
Which I'll bring one of those up during the spoiler sections, but one I was actually reading online on Talking Time where they pointed this out, and I'm like, wait, really? That was what they're talking about? Wow. But yeah. Any more story bits before going into like the combat and stuff?
I just think that the cool thing about them talking to each other is, I don't know about you guys, but a lot of people I know, not me myself, but a lot of people tend to only have 2 or 3 characters they put in their party when they go on missions, and that is usually the only way to see a lot of characters interact with each other. But since they now hang out on the ship, you have a better idea of how certain characters deal with each other.
It's true. That is very true. And even then, like, I would always, Javik was always in my party, always. Mostly because it was a wonderful shock value where people were like, what's that? A Prothean? What? But it was, but sometimes it usually are. Sometimes you use Garrus, sometimes you use somebody else. But I barely ever used Vega. I barely touched the guy. But it was neat watching him interact with other people as well as him constantly losing at cards, on the Citadel.
As
weird.
me and my roommate called it, the endless poker game.
Yeah.
Oh, Vega. He looked like he should be on Jersey Shore, but he turned out to be strangely charming. Although I never used him in my party.
But yeah, it's good stuff, and of course the gameplay systems have been. Overall I feel this is a best combination of 2 and 1, like they said it would be. Like, I feel they totally was, except for some sticking points, mostly with it sticking to random things. I feel combat was greatly improved.
Oh, yeah. Thumbs up just for making melee combat viable.
And fun, man. When you get freaking, totally, when you grab those freaking husks and you step on them and squish, squish, squish.
Oh, I don't know. Oh, Vanguard actually kind of works again. And shotguns work. Not as actual shotguns, but as bludgeoning things to death. They work great.
My roommate, when he played Vanguard in 3, he went back and he was pretty good at Vanguard in 2 then. But Vanguard in 3 is just like a whirlwind of death and destruction and killing.
I was starting a little bit of a second playthrough as Vanguard, and I'm like, wow, I'm hardly using bullets. I'm just ramming and punching things. It's great.
Yeah, my only problem is occasionally you'll stick to cover weirdly, and getting to ladders is kind of annoying still.
Sometimes, yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Well, I also did like that a lot of times they sort of pull some tricks from Uncharted when you're running around stuff, and so suddenly you'll crash and fall through stuff out of nowhere, and it'll just happen. And it's much more cinematic than Mass Effect Spin 4, which I know they were probably leaning towards and trying to get there, but they really started getting there in 3, and it was nice to see. And I like how they give you just enough, variations on how you level up your guys. It's not quite the crazy fill in your character sheet of 1, but way more than just you just moving the slide along in 2.
Yeah.
You actually do some customizations. Weapons are really customizable now, as well as armor.
Yeah.
But they are not the vendor trash bonanza that was number 1.
Yeah. 1 had some inventory control issues.
I think what they did a really good job of going, you never ever have to get anything bad.
Yeah.
Even if you get a new item, it all it does is it improves. Like you have mods, you have weapons now, and each weapon can get 2 different modifications to it that'll change its stats and how it interacts with the environment as far as weapon damage or scopes or better clips that you can stuff more stuff into.
Things to boost your melee combat.
And there's 5 or 6 for each item, for each kind of weapon. And as you go through the game, whether it's through shops or you just find it in the environment at various levels, you walk through, it just upgrades the existing thing. So if you find a extra knife to put onto your rifle, if you find another one later, it just levels that one up so it's better. So you're never finding trash at all because everything is useful. And the armor, which I liked from 2, is you more or less can mix and match however you want your armor to be, unless you want a full set, in which case you just buy the full set.
Which I think only show up if you got them in 2. But
probably.
Pretty much any of the extra stuff you got as part of DLC in 2 makes an appearance in 3 somewhere.
And the cool thing is, if you miss it on a map, there will be a store that you can buy it later on in.
It's true. The only thing that will not come back up is the stuff in Javik's Quest.
Ah.
That apparently is the only thing that you cannot buy in the, you missed it? Well, here, you can buy it for really cheap. That way you can still get the story stuff you need from it. Because there is a lot of people out there. One of the things to raise your readiness score to see how well you'll do in the end is there's all these people who are looking for things on the Citadel. And as you're going through either through levels or if you're stuff through scanning, which is either better or worse depending on how you look at it from 2, it actually helps raise your readiness score in different ways. And what's interesting about the readiness score is that I feel it's almost a little bit wasted potential with the readiness thing, because you can actually go into the readiness stuff and read about what you've changed, what's going on. And there are stuff that you make choices of in the game that will affect things later on as you do stuff. For example, there is a character that you can either recruit or not recruit. And depending on the character that you get to pick is determined on what you did in the previous games. And if you did the right things in the previous games, it just helps you. But if you chose the wrong things in the previous games and then still choose to recruit this character, halfway through the game, suddenly your readiness score will drop because the character betrays you.
In fact, there are a lot of more decisions that you don't know the full ramification of what they did till, later on. There are a lot of times when you can intercede on people's arguments, and you won't know for at least another 10, 15 minutes till you get back to your ship. Did that increase my readiness, decrease it, not do anything, set something else up? So there's no immediate save just before a decision, make it, and then instantly find out if it was the right one or the wrong one, and then just load back and do it again. You kind of have to live with, your choices a lot of the time.
Yeah, and I'm really sad that they didn't really make that more prominent. That's one of my complaints about the game is I really feel like I would have loved to have seen things like maybe hearing people in your ship talk about it, things that happen. Like one of the things I liked in 2, I think also made in 1, where as you'd go by around places, you would hear like the news going by from like Galactic Council News or whatever, and you would get to hear about events happening. I would have loved to have seen that in 3, where you could hear like crew members mentioning things that you may have had decisions on and those effects, and more than just reading it in the readiness room.
Yeah, I could have seen that. Although, I don't know, it almost makes sense, at least not hearing the news broadcast, because news is kind of fragmented. It's hard to get accurate information because of the Reaper invasion and
Yes,
such,
but you could get Jessica Chobot to tell you all the news personally if you wanted.
Probably.
Yeah, if you so choose, you can have the news straight from IGN's mouth that isn't looking at PSP at the time. That's another problem Mass Effect has. Not enough of the news characters licking PSPs.
I am obviously unaware of that reference, but
I can live without that.
Just so you know, Jessica Chobot, she is a entertainment personality for IGN, and she got popular because she licked a PSP once.
Oh, okay, and she's the model for that one reporter.
And she's
girl.
the model for the reporter girl.
I knew that much, but okay.
But another thing, did either of you play multiplayer?
I did.
Surprisingly, I did, and I generally hate online multiplayer of any kind.
I feel this is one of the best versions of Horde mode out there.
I enjoyed it.
I'm just glad it's cooperative.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, I think they realized there's no way that they could honestly give you actual Mass Effect gameplay with the actual classes and powers and then bounce at it all for multiplayer competitively. And so instead, they were like, you know what? People like Horde mode, people like Zombies mode and Call of Duty, let's do a variation on that where you can pick a character, pick a class, pick a race, level the character up, get powers, and throw monsters at you. And it works. It is so much fun.
Yeah, I played enough to get up my readiness percentage, and then I played it a little more because I was having fun.
I think everybody's big complaint is the one flaw of multiplayer is how you get new items, which is basically the collectible card game.
It's kind of luck of the draw.
I cannot complain because I'm a victim. I totally played into that. What it is that in order, as you play through the game, not only are you leveling up your character, but you're also earning credits. And you can spend credits on pretty much you buy CCG booster packs, which are commons, uncommons, rares, which gives you extra weapons, it gives you new weapons, gives you new character experience points, and other items that you can use, like one-time use items that you can use to outfit your character. Now, the trick is that you can just use the credits you get from winning matches, or you can spend Bioware points, i.e. real money.
Or if you're playing the PS3 version, just flat out real money. Probably something similar for Xbox.
Well, you just use Microsoft points.
Yeah.
It's Microsoft points on Xbox. If you're playing on PC, aka Origin, you're doing Bioware points. I guess on PSN, you're just doing money values.
Yeah.
But it's like $1 or $2 per thing, which makes it really easily impulse disposable.
I at one point, especially right on, I kind of went, okay, I'll drop a couple bucks on this, and I bought a couple booster packs.
I totally dropped $10 until I got my Solarian Infiltrator.
I actually got really lucky and got one of the Quarians on like my first draw. That was pretty cool.
And so, no, I played right into their schemes.
Yeah.
And I feel dirty, but I don't care.
I never got much luck in getting weapons out of the draws, which is the only annoying part.
I still have to get Quarian Engineer, which I played in the demo, and I thought was really cool, but it's one of the classes I have not unlocked.
I do find it neat that, the different races with the different classes, each race gets their own little unique thing that they're good at, that they get a little skill, alternate power that they get. So, whereas if I'm a human infiltrator, I get cryoblast. Whereas if I'm like a Solarian, I get like get the grenade. And I think Quarry gets something else. And so everyone gets their own little variation to the theme.
Like the Asari biotic class gets like stasis instead of singularity. Little things. Although they have a cool all-around explosion melee attack.
And they divvy up the different challenges between the various maps, and everything ties in single player. Like all the levels you go through in multiplayer are things that Shepard and his crew. I played as correct Shepard, aka female Shepard.
Yeah, ditto.
But they clear out those spots, and that then Hackett, the admiral who's in charge of all the forces, are sending in teams to hold the areas and make sure that it doesn't get completely taken over by enemies. And you're playing those guys. And you can technically, once you get your characters to level 20, you can send them off. You loot air that drops everybody else back to 1, but you send them off. They become war assets
It
for the
kind
single
of
player game.
it kind of reminded me of sending characters to Valhalla in Valkyrie Profile.
Yeah, actually.
Yeah, like, and so it's sort of this neat little, in game feedback loop with the multiplayer, which is kind of like Assassin's Creed did it with their multiplayer, where it's actually Templar training. That this is how they actually train their Templars, whereas this is how these spots that you win in the single player game, how the good guys keep them from the enemies.
It's pretty neat. It's fun. I think that is the thing. Like, it's nice to just sit down and play a match or two. Although I will tell everybody now, this is in the spoiler section. Everybody should know this. Dear, bleep bleeps who play this game, the points that you get for a full extraction are worth more than the piddly points you will get for grandstanding outside the extraction zone when you're being removed from a map. So for the last 30 seconds, get your bum back to the extraction zone.
100% agree. Amen. I was really fortunate for the vast majority of the multiplayer I played. Was actually during one night where it was myself, Botoggle from Connolly Drop, Clarissa from AWO, and Max, who was one of their friends from Florida. And so it was the four of us playing for a few hours. A lot of fun if you can get people playing with you. And it was good times. But even then, a lot of the people I played with just, in pickup groups were at least nice.
Oh, yeah. No, it is like my one pet peeve. And then people feel like, I got to get into extra 200 points by killing people outside the extraction zone. And then they just waste all their time out there and you don't get a full extraction. And it's so many more points to get a full extraction.
It's true. Like, the full extraction points are horrendously crazy. Like, oh my goodness. Yeah, it's like that's like a guaranteed level up right there, like even on bronze almost sometimes.
Yeah.
Like,
the last couple minutes of extraction were usually like the biggest, nastiest things from whatever enemy you're fighting are coming at you.
That's why you want to be all together.
Yes.
Taking them on, not have Joe Random Vanguard out there trying to get 200 extra points by killing some cannibal.
Yeah, a lot of times that's like, well, I got an extra rocket, let's use it.
Yeah, that Atlas ain't so tough. Okay, a little spoiler for the scene where you get to control an Atlas was awesome.
Oh, there could be more than one if you know how to do it.
Well, we'll get to that later then. Okay, anything else before we go into full-on spoiler territory?
I think that no matter what we say in the next part, I enjoyed the experience. I thought that 95% of the game was thumbs up for me, and I'm not going to let flaws in other parts kind of ruin that ride that I had.
Yeah, I enjoyed it greatly. I'm started up a second playthrough just recently. I will probably play that on and off. Well, I don't know how many times I played through 2, a bunch. I'll probably play 1. I played through a bunch. I can't think of many games I've played complete playthroughs quite as many times in the Mass Effect series, like RPG Links games.
Yeah, like I'm right there with like 95% of this game I feel is amazing. And it is very much the 3 that I was wanting to play. It's awesome, it's great. I fully recommend it without reservations, even with reservations. Everyone should play this game. And on that note, we're going to take a break, and then No Holds Barred Spoiler Fest 2012.
Assuming spoiler control.
Yeah, pretty much. Guys, from now
But
on
where
in-
was that guy?
Yeah, real. That spoilers. Where the hell's Harbinger?
Well, he was the dude who blasted you, but more importantly, that bitch Kyle Lang. And that moment where I got to punch through his punk-ass sword before taking that asshole down.
I'm curious what happens if you don't take the renegade
You
option.
just
on
dodge
that.
it.
Oh, well, screw that. This is for saying Krios, you son of a bitch. I stand by my renegade action.
But
And what?
what?
Also, one of the things that we didn't mention in the spoiler thing, but that you can choose Paragon or Renegade stuff, and a lot of times it just ups your reputation. So you can pick both things, but it'll still overall count for you, and that way you don't have to like things like in 2, where if you chose a couple of Renegade things, you could screw yourself out of Paragon options.
Yeah.
That doesn't happen in 3.
I mean, super renegade things tend to get you renegade, but yeah, there are a lot of decisions that just give you rep.
And so that was a really good idea. And a lot of times it's things like that are just the decisions that you make. And when you can talk the Luso Man into serening or ventilating himself, as it were, it's all in you taking the right dialogue choices. Not whether your overall Paragon or overall Renegade. It's the decision, the Paragon choices that you get to make, and that's what causes him to ventilate himself or not.
Oh, quick thing though, before we get into more spoilers, my roommate did remind me the one bad thing also about multiplayer, it is kind of buggy, especially if you play Vanguard and you can play the infinitely falling Vanguard.
That is true. Multiplayer can have some. Well, no game's perfect. But I guess after Skyrim, I've learned to tolerate bugs.
Yeah, I think I only playing multiplayer. I think I only had like it totally just bug out to the point where like the whole thing crashed on me like twice.
I did have one guy, I don't think he was cheating, but his Krogan was stuck in one frame of animation. And it was just running around doing stuff. But it was just like regular like firefight stuff. It wasn't like crazy hacks of, ill repute. He was just running around, but it was just a single frame of this model stuck in one spot.
I did once have one time when I couldn't move away from the spaceship in the one with the spaceships on the landing pad.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, and like the ice base.
Yeah.
Yeah, Jacob Land.
Jacob Land.
Yeah, I couldn't get away from the spaceship in Jacob Land.
Oh, nobody likes Jacob.
Man, I was so sad when Zaid died for me. Like, that's what I mentioned it, like, where I was doing his quest.
Oh, yeah.
And suddenly, like, he's dying. I'm like, what? No, Zaid, why are you dying? And discover that if I had actually done his little mention correctly, he wouldn't have died.
Oh, okay. I was gonna say I never had Zaid die on me.
That's happened. Well, it's also like Kasumi through her thing. Like, if you don't complete her missions correctly, her mission correctly, you can have her, but she'll die.
Oh,
like she won't come back. Like,
okay, well I got her.
The scene where she comes back from invisibility and
she'll really have been dead.
She'll really have been dead.
Okay, because I knew some of the stuff like Grunt living or dying, where you did his loyalty mission.
Miranda, you could get Miranda killed a lot of different ways.
Yeah, I hear if you romanced her and then like break up with her early on, she dies pretty quick.
What actually got me was that I didn't realize I could have ran into Kelly Chambers.
Oh, I ran into Kelly and got her killed, but
I didn't run at all, and she got killed. And someone just mentioning like, yeah, some Kelly chick died. And I'm like, what?
Yeoman Sex Bunny, no.
My roommate got her to commit suicide.
Ow. I don't say that lightly on the OSMcast.
Oh, man, that's almost as bad as if you get Tally to kill herself.
Oh, yeah, I heard about that. I somehow just stumbled into the way to get the Quarians and Guests to be friends. So,
well, the trick is that occasionally when you have to make big decisions, if your reputation is high enough, you will see your red and blue choices on the other side.
Mm-hmm.
And if you choose one of those, that's sort of like you get both. Like if you focused on one side or the other, and you've overall got enough rep and enough Paragon or Renegade, you can more or less either convince them to work together or yell at them to work together.
Well, if you destroyed the heretics, that gives you a big boost in 3. And once again, if you did everything with Tali and Legion, if you weren't like, side quests are for losers.
That's true. And I'm also amazed, and I guess we could have brought this up earlier, but just how much the DLC for 2 is important to 3.
Yeah.
Like, the things, like Project Overlord had a couple different things that changed how things could happen in 3.
Some of the Overlord stuff made it in, some of the Shadow Broker references.
Man, I don't know how someone can go from 2, not play Shadow Broker, and then go in 3, how they're gonna react. When suddenly out of nowhere, Liara is the Shadow Broker.
I don't know. Liara is the Shadow Broker. You probably should have known that. I don't know. go.
Or the arrival.
Or the arrival,
which
yeah.
literally sets up 3.
Yeah, I wonder if that's just not mentioned, or I have no idea.
Oh no, if you don't do Shadow Broker, Liara takes out the Shadow Broker, but she has to basically buy a mercenary army to do it, and she has less Shadow Broker contacts in 3.
Well, there you go. So it's worth your time.
And if you don't do Arrival, they send in a Marine, like a bunch of special ops teams to basically do what you do, and they all get slaughtered.
So, yeah, but that's one of the beauties of 3 is that everything you do.
Yeah. I mean, I've heard, if somehow Morden died, which is actually one of the most likely characters to die in the end of 2, you kind of get a not Morden to show up in the important scenes with Morden's in, and Joker even calls him not Morden.
Right. Before I hear guys actually his own character, his own personality, and that he does the same thing Morden's does, but for different reasons.
He's
almost, a much more spiritual, almost like Buddhist.
Yeah. It might almost be worth seeing it.
So yeah, well, and other stuff for example, on Chachanka, right, with the Morden and Rex stuff. If you don't have Rex, you get Reeve as the guy, and he's way more bloodthirsty than Rex is, and it makes it much more likely that maybe you don't want them to have the genophage cured.
Honestly, 99% of fixing the Krogan genophage is I'm like, well, Rex is a pretty cool dude. He seems to be leading the Krogans in the right direction. I feel okay with this choice.
Did you know you could save Morden and not get him killed?
Yes, but the crux is having Rex dead.
And Rex dead and Eve has to die. They both have to die.
Wow.
Basically, if the leadership of the Krogan is so horrible, he'll be like, all right, I won't.
But on the other hand, boy, I don't know. I kind of really like Morden's death scene. It's sad Morden's dead, but I think he went out exactly the way he wanted to.
He goes out like a champ.
Yeah.
I think he had the best. I really think Chachanka is by far the star of the Mass Effect 3 show.
Yeah. After that, I honestly had to stop it. I had to stop playing for a minute or two after that. I had to stop and think about what just happened.
I really think Chachanka is so varied and so nuanced that even compared to everything else kind of pales.
I mean, that's this game, so many times, that part, but so many times this game, it really got an emotional response out of me. I was actually almost kind of role playing. I was like, well, what would Shepard do? What would my Shepard do here? It's how does this make me feel?
And speaking of horrible, sad things, do you realize that you actually know, before you know who she is, what happened to Joker's sister?
Yeah, that's what I was referring to.
Yeah, I was curious if that was the line you were referring to.
What
is? Okay.
I may have missed this. What is?
In the medical wards or the hospital, there is that post-traumatic stress disorder. And the things that referred to killing everybody in is Joker's colony, and one of the people she's directly referred to as having to kill, is his sister.
Wow.
And you'd only know this if you talk to Joker in 2 and learn his backstory.
He does mention when Liara is looking for survivors, he does also mention his sister and what planet she was on.
Yeah, and they mentioned the place she was that is the place the Asari is on, and includes the description of his sister.
Wow, I must have missed that one.
It's so easy to miss.
Yeah, but it's there.
Wow.
This game is just full of so much stuff. That's, like I said, the ending notwithstanding, this game does so much right. Just so much right.
The part I mentioned about Conrad Werner,
yeah.
You meet him in 3. If you got the bug in 2, there was a bug in 2 in some of the versions that if it didn't matter if you talked down his crazy with Paragon or Renegade, the game always acted like you did the Renegade choices with him. So if you Paragoned him in 1 and then he accused you of being basically threatening him in 2. In 3, if you got that bug, he basically is like, man, I'm sorry for claiming that you threatened me with a gun on the Citadel. I was just in a weird place at that time when you met me on Omega.
Well, yeah, they put so much thought into 3. It's insane. And it kind of is weird they put so much thought into this, and then we get the ending that we get.
Yeah.
Because it's weird. weird. At first, because the ending was kind of spoiled before the game came out because somebody got a leaked version of the Russian version. And, there is a reason that Russia and China always have their own DVD and Blu-ray sections. And it's because they're kind of known as the bootlegger countries.
Yeah.
Ah, yes. Bless you and your cheap, ill-gotten videos.
And so a lot of people were like, this is the ending? But a lot of people were like, well, we don't know. I mean, that is a leaked copy. And then when the actual endings were seen, there was a storm of fecal matter.
Oh yeah, hitting all the fans.
There was a shitstorm of epic proportions.
Like, man, I don't think I've ever seen a video game ending get this much vitriol.
I mean, I guess in a way that just shows how many people had so much invested in the series. Like, there's a lot of people who cared a lot about how this series ends.
It does, and I really do think that Citadel pretty immediately as far as these things go was like, we're prepping DLC that's going to explain and clarify this some. And it really reminded me of when Ava came out. We had the end of the TV series, right?
Yeah.
Where they realized when they were making that ending to the TV series that people were not going to be happy, and they started working on OAVs to compensate for that. And then after the shitstorm that hit for Ava, they're like, all right, fine, we're doing movies now. We're taking these OAVs and we're turning them into movies. And then we got into Ava.
And I think I like the TV ending better. But
I think when they were like, they suddenly jumped on like, we're working on DLC it may not completely change it, but we're going to definitely clarify some things and add more content to the ending.
And final result still pending my opinion, but I am kind of, they seem to realize that fans were agitated and that they should address this immediately.
I think they realized when they were making that ending, I really think that the ending they put on there was problems of a rushed ending of the development cycle.
Yeah, it looks like something that if they had another 2 months, they could have done the ending they wanted, but they needed something out the door.
Where the conduit turns the Reapers into ice cream.
No. I am kind of sad that we
do a cake, Shepard.
Yeah.
And Rex is romanceable by male shepherds. That's
I really kind of wish we did get the dark energy ending, but I have also feeling that also happened probably because the script, quote unquote, got leaked to the game, half a year ago. And so all right, well, let's do something else now that they've seen the ending. And I also think that's the only reason why I felt it was rushed. I feel the ending is in fact rushed, at least right up until I think once you get to Catalyst Kid.
Yeah.
I think up until that point, I think is more or less what they were planning on. And maybe they were planning on the Catalyst Kid all along. I mean, you do get the kid here and there throughout Shepard's viewings of stuff.
Unless that's Shepard's Reaper indoctrination talking.
Oh, shut up with the frickin' Reaper indoctrination talking.
Well, someone had to bring up the theory.
It's true. And I watched there's a dude who made a video for it. And he makes up a good points, but I really think it shows us how fast they had to push that ending through, not how much thought they put into this whole indoctrination theory in general.
I think, the example I always give when discussing with other people is I think that there are a lot of conspiracy theories that invoke the new Coke scandal. Do you know what this is?
A little bit, but tell the viewers at home.
All right, I don't remember when, but a while back, they decided to unveil the new formula of Coke. And Coke, the Coca-Cola Classic that everybody knew, they were retiring and they were going to make new Coke, and it was supposed to be better, and it was, it would help them defeat Pepsi once and for all. And people hated new Coke. They just thought it was swell, and they demanded that Coke Classic come back, and they brought back the old Coke formula, and they called it Coke Classic, and sales of Coca-Cola shot through the roof, which started all these conspiracy theories that the only reason they introduced new Coke was for us to hate it so they could bring back old Coke. And the famous line is from one of the top Coke executives is, nobody at Coke was stupid enough enough to make new Coke to get the negative reactions and the loss of sales that we did, and no one is brilliant enough to have foreseen the upswing that we'd get back from bringing the new ending. And I kind of feel that is the way I feel about a lot of the conspiracy theories. That I don't think that it was like this brilliant idea to give us an ending we hated so much that we'd have to buy the good endings.
No, I really feel that it was a case of when they were making it right, okay, guys, we're going to get some backlash on this. We're not going to have time to really make this ending the way we want to make this ending. So let's set some of this aside. Let's get the bulk of it, what we can get done, and let's start prepping DLC to help deal with it. Because we know that people are not going to like it. I don't think they thought people were going to hate as much as they did.
Mm-hmm.
But I think they knew they were going to get some backlash, and I think they were trying to get ready for it. And now they're really trying to get ready for it. Although the neat thing about New Coke is that formula used for New Coke is more or less the formula for Diet Coke, as we know it. It's that, because it was actually tested really well. New Coke tested incredibly well in opposition to Classic Coke. And so that's why they were so gung-ho about pushing it. And then afterwards, they're like, oh, snap, we'll do this formula. It tested so well. They snuck it into Diet Coke, and everyone started going like, oh, man, Diet Coke's not so good. What's going on? And it's New Coke.
Those clever bastards.
This is what New Coke is now with aspartame, it's called Diet Coke.
Yes. And that's when we're going to get Diet Mass Effect Reaper indoctrination. It'll be a whole other game.
I'm curious, what do you guys think of the backlash on both sides? That I feel there was a gamer backlash of people being like, this ending sucks, and you have ruined the franchise, and I will hunt down your family if you don't give me a new ending. And then all the game community, the professional game writers being like, since BioWare is giving them a new ending, they have destroyed the credibility of video games.
First off, this isn't the first time this has happened.
No.
I mean, for example, Tales of Graces. Kevin just talked about it, how for the PS3 version, they added a whole brand new epilogue.
Yeah, there's a whole,
which helped explain the ending
I haven't
more.
gotten there yet, but yes, there is, at least what I got off Wikipedia, is there is a playable epilogue section that's a good another 10 to 17 hours of gameplay.
Look at Persona 3 Fez.
Yeah, that's good 20-something odd hours of gameplay. Hard as balls gameplay, I might add.
Or even stuff like Fallout 3,
yeah,
where they changed any DLC. Or even Portal, where they decided to change any to Portal to set up Portal 2.
Yeah.
Or I think the classic example, which I thought was very clever, was somebody was like, everybody in the games community makes it seem like, oh, well, this is going to make us look bad because other forms of entertainment don't do this. But the classic example, as a man from a detective anime blog, is Sherlock Holmes.
It's true.
People hated that Conan Doyle hated Sherlock Holmes as they began to write him and killed him off so he wouldn't have to write him anymore. And people wrote in all kinds of nasty letters demanding that they bring back Sherlock Holmes and a hefty enough paycheck, and possibly not wanting to be stabbed on the street of London, decided that he would retcon the ending of Rickenbach Falls and bring back Sherlock Holmes.
Yep, and now they're going to do it all over again with the new Sherlock BBC series, where in season 2 they do the same thing. Well, guess what? We're getting to season 3.
Yeah. Oh, my mom loves that show. But
it's good.
It's awesome. I like it. My mom loves it.
Kate and I love it as well. But
okay. Let's say you have seen the new Sherlock, right?
Yeah.
Okay, I figured, but
and we're getting both of them in The Hobbit.
Interesting. Anyways, but Matt, yeah, I really think that the backlash. Well, the backlash started with the people being pissed off at the ending, and the fact that they're demanding BioWare change it. That they must change it. They have the right to demand that they change it. I feel that's a little over the line. That you're stepping into a little too much entitlement.
Yeah.
That's like saying you demand that fan subs should be around because that's how you're used to getting anime. Yeah. That's not a good argument to have.
Or I demand Harry Potter get together with Hermione at the end because I'm a Harry Hermione shipper and I'm not. But hypothetically,
it's
like there's an extent of taking the gamer you want to take the gamer's feelings into consideration because, well, they buy your game, but they can't really dictate your story. Like you as a writer or the writers, I mean, you're got to tell your story. I mean, you want to make one you hope the fans will like, but you still got to have a certain amount of creative control.
And I see the critics saying, like, well, if they change it, they're just selling out. How dare they? But on the other hand, if BioWare wants to sell out and make people happy with them, they are a company that, they're selling entertainment.
Yeah.
They are selling entertainment that wants to make a profit.
I mean, yes.
And keep making games.
There is the counterpoint of they're like, oh, they didn't like our ending. Well, that makes us sad. And what can we do to fix this and keep your loyalty and maybe make some money off of it?
And I do feel that, the critics' backlash against the community's backlash. I mean, it's one of those things where I think the whiplash was so bad that the critics felt that they had to whiplash just as strong back, try and counterbalance it. And all it really does is leaves a whole lot of negative feelings in the air.
Yeah, because at first, I was kind of pissed how everyone was so mad. And, I felt like they were overreacting. It's a right to say, I did not like that ending. And if you do something for me, that would be helpful, and a good sign of goodwill. But I feel for every person who was rational about it, there was another person who was just screaming vitriol.
Yeah.
Yeah, there's a lot of people who it seemed like that ending just ruined the game for them forever. The whole franchise. Just that ending ruined it for them forever, and they were going to tell the world about it.
Yeah, the whole, different jelly bean flavors, whether you take the red pill, the blue pill, the green pill, which I didn't understand quite the green pill part first with the synthesis ending. I'm like, this beam of light is clearly blue that I'm walking towards. I don't see what's green about it at all. Oh, it's getting greener. Oh, well, that's
getting greener.
That's pretty green.
Yeah, I kind of actually lean towards the synthesis ending of the 3 available, but...
But
I just went for control because I could not kill off Edie and the Geth.
Well, see, yeah, that was my problem. I'm like, well, I don't want Edie and the Geth to die. They're like the most awesome. I love the Geth. I love Edie.
Well, I like to describe it. Well, control is its own little thing, but you get the destroy ending, which is Gurren Lagann. it is when you get right down to it. Yeah. The person who ever said it was right. The Reapers and the anti-spirals more or less serve the exact same purpose.
Yeah,
and that really, when you're choosing destroy, you're destroying everything that has a Reaper base to it, whether it be Edie, who is based off Reaper code, the Geth, which has at some point been infected with Reaper code, whether they kept it or not, and Shepard, who got probably some bit of at least Reaperness in her, whether she likes it or not, probably due to Project Lazarus.
Yeah.
And so, of course, they're all going to die, which is very analogous to the end of Gurren Lagann.
Yet, ironically, that's the only ending that ever implies Shepard might live if you got enough war power points.
Well, it's true. Shepard can live through that if you have enough points, and you choose it. You choose like the right options.
Yeah.
And then you've got Control, which is Control, and then you have Synthesis, which is Madoka Magica / Ray Earth.
Yeah.
Where the thing is with both of those series is we present the system. Now you discover the system's really screwed up, and the answer is to completely change the system. And that is more or less what the Synthesis is trying to do. How well it succeeds at doing it is debatable, but what it's trying to do is completely rewrite the rules on how everything is supposed to work.
So wait, does that make Garrus your Homura-chan?
Yes. It's his favorite part of the Citadel. Wait, which, by the way, did you let him win the shot?
Oh, I let him have it.
Okay.
Why not?
I mean, it leads to the best line in the game.
Yes. Yeah, it does. I love Garrus. And I like if you haven't hooked up with Garrus or Tally, they kind of hook up off. Like if you you can walk in on them. It's great.
Yeah, totally. But yeah, like that's pretty much endings in a nutshell. And I chose Madoka Magica, the ending.
Yeah, I kind of led toward. I like the idea of synthesis. It seemed to play towards the peacemaker kind of role I tended to play in this game. So.
I felt like it was taking too much control away from the races. Like I was forcing them to be half synthetics. So I went with control because I felt like elusive Manny as it was, at least I wasn't throwing whole races on the pyre, especially since the Quarian's so screwed over the Geth, as we learned.
Yeah, it's true. And who knows what actually happens if you choose synthesis, how much that really goes. I mean, now that said, there are just conversations you can have with Edie and stuff that does preclude the fact that there's so much energy that they're more saying this can do insane things that aren't supposed to be possible.
Yeah.
And so space magic is not out of the equation. So I felt like they did set up enough that I could tolerate it because it is a little more space magic-y than
science of Mass Effect.
Synthesis a little more space magic-y than the other two.
Yeah, and I don't know. And generally, Mass Effect was kind of like firm to semi-hard sci-fi most of the way through, and that was a little space opera-y all of a sudden. Like, not even, well, no, space operas can be pretty hard science, but like the difference between Star Wars and Honor Harrington.
Yeah, the only thing that is like space magic is element 0, but it is essentially the dilithium crystal of the universe.
It's your necessary caveat to make the universe work.
Yeah, like EZO is one of those things where like, and I feel that they handle EZO so well.
Yeah,
that,
I mean, it's the Minovsky particles of Mass Effect. It's what makes the science work, they're very consistent with it.
And admittedly, it's also a case where I lost my train of thought.
Yes, Minovsky particles, element 0.
Element 0.
It's a case where everyone forgot to wear pants to the office that day.
Yes. Yes. It was especially embarrassing for Rex.
It was.
Because all of them balls were just hanging out. Yeah, I totally lost what I was going to say.
I probably didn't help.
But
anyway,
yeah,
one of y'all say something insightful.
but I felt like as much as I want, kind of a new ending or at least a more detailed ending, I think that, as I mentioned before we started the podcast, what people want, because a lot of people are throwing around, oh, I think you want just a happy ending. I think that Penny Arcade strip pretty much summed it up. The Reapers turn into ice cream and you become the coolest dude and everyone bakes you a birthday cake.
Here's your segue, Mr. Emperor of the Galaxy.
Yes, that's how Star Wars actually started.
And everybody else was like, this is what you want. And I think what people want was a Chrono Trigger ending. Or everybody, the other accusation I hear is people want a American Graffiti ending.
Like, here they are now, or...
Yeah.
Yeah.
And then Garrus went on to become a DJ.
Grunt was shot by his men in Vietnam.
What was it? Who like someone did a fake one of these?
Oh, there are a bunch of them actually.
Oh, really?
Like yeah, someone's actually done this a few times, and it's like Zaid died in Vietnam, stuff like that.
But I think what people really want is a Chrono Trigger ending, and I assume that most of you are cool dudes with souls and have played Chrono Trigger.
Oh yeah.
Yes, on more than one system.
But for those who aren't cool dudes, explain what you mean.
But what I mean is everybody. When I was a kid and played Chrono Trigger the first time, everybody was like, there are so many endings of Chrono Trigger. Like, all the little decisions you make, they can make tons of different endings. But if you look back on it, other than like the crazy wacky endings, like where you get to the developer's room, or where like everybody is a lizard man.
Mostly involving killing Lavos at times you're not supposed to be able to kill Lavos.
Most of the time, the various endings you get are pretty much the same ending. They just change a lot of little things. Like, is Froggy human or not? Is Magus there? Is the inventor girl's mom in the ending?
Did you ever bring Chrono back to life? Because you don't really have to.
It's true. You're right. A lot of that little stuff that is not there in the ending. And I think possibly it might feel even weirder with that ending because so much of the game up until that point hits so many home runs on how well they incorporate everything.
And it does kind of feel like, especially like with the Krogans and the Genophage is a good example, that they're like saying, your choice here will have radical repercussions on the universe. So
yeah, and
think about it. Think wisely.
And I just feel like everybody wanted, you could have those similar endings, but everybody wanted a little nod that just changed a little bit of the ending that proved that your decisions made a difference. And I think that if they had given that, which once again probably would have required about 2 months more development time, I think about 60% of the complaining would be gone. I mean, 40%.
Hypothetically, Shepard dies. Show your love interest if you had one grieving. I don't know. Something like that.
And I would like a little bit explanation on how your crew members and Joker are on their ship and running away.
True, because
that was the one time the ending where I was very confused.
Because last I saw, some of those people were possibly dead or wounded on the surface of Earth.
Like, who also got hit by the Harbinger beam. And that is Harbinger. Like, he is the one who blasts you in the end before you fight the final boss, Marauder Shields.
Oh, Marauder Shields. You tried to save us from the ending.
But you're right. Like, for me, I took Javik and Liara with me. Liara was my love interest and Javik was my bro. And you didn't see them when I was running, but I assumed they were with me.
Yeah, I had a lot of Liara and Tali, but, same difference.
And I had Edie and Liara.
Yeah, I tend tended to trade around with basically the girls.
Edie was interesting.
Yeah.
I felt as a character choice.
Yes.
It made sense how they did it. I loved how 60s her hair looked.
Oh yeah, she was very like Soriyama sexy robot design. It was great.
So neither of you had a problem with Edie getting a robot body, because she is like one of the oddly most controversial, like people either didn't care or liked it, or they hated the Joker Edie romance.
I thought it was very appropriate, and it seemed logical out of the end of Mass Effect 2.
Same.
Yeah.
Like, it was obviously those two had formed a very unique connection that if given the opportunity, I think they both would take it to a next level. And
That-
the writers
Yeah.
were like, all right, let's do this.
That basically Edie gets a perfectly good artificial body dropped in her lap. I don't see why she wouldn't have done exactly what she did.
Because I feel a lot of people feel like, why you gotta put in your real doll fantasy fiction in my Mass Effect game?
No, dog, this ain't no Chobbits.
Yeah, I mean, she's, well, for other than lack of a body, Edie is she's a person. She's a character. She has an intelligence. And then they gave her a body. You know, it's...
I feel much more controversy that makes much more sense is the whole Tally's picture, where they purchased a stock photo in order to edit to create the Tally person and in the flesh, as it were.
I just feel like it was another rush thing, because it seemed like they were really conflicted either whether to put her picture in the end or not. Like, should they ever do it, or should it basically be Norm's wife on Cheers?
Well, I really think that it was honestly a case of because they knew that so many people were so into what she looked like. What could it possibly be? You know, does she look like a giraffe? Does she look like a zebra? Does she look like Rex? Does she look like a robot? What does she look like? And I think they were like, you know what, guys? Fuck it. No matter what we do, they're gonna be pissed off. So you know what? That stock photo looks good. Let's go with it. It's done. Over. So I made a decision. There it is. It's gonna be Tally. We're good.
I feel like they ran out of time, but they decided people want something, so we're just going to put that there, because that is all the time we have. I feel like
exactly.
it's another sign of them being rushed.
Like, yeah, but I really do think that. I think one of them was like, you know what, screw it. You know what, I'm going to make an executive decision. That's Tally. We're going to get backlash no matter what we do. There's no picture of Tally ever that would make people happy. None. I don't care if it's from scratch or not. Also, that final scene with the two planets and stuff, that kind of scene is so freaking popular in space art that, and I feel that one's a little more, it's a way more, if you look at it, okay, there's two planets in the background and there's some trees and it's snowing. Oh my God, how often have you seen something like that? You're right. There are scenes that look just like it, but guess what? I bet you can find a whole lot of pictures that are just like it. I think that one was much more of a happenstance, maybe more inspiration than pure, like, it's obviously that stock photo was the stock photo they used, but it wasn't so obvious that, except for like the planets have the same distance between each other in the stock photo they usually show, where all the trees are completely different in the stock photo compared to the what they ended up using. Like, it was obviously a brand new picture that might have taken influence from it, but wasn't like copy and paste with some Photoshop edits. More importantly, the grandpa was talking as Buzz Aldrin, telling us to go to the stars, and there's nothing wrong with that.
No, there isn't.
Like, as soon as I found out that was Buzz Aldrin, like, all my complaints and the complaints I do have for the ending went away. Wait, they ended the game with Buzz Aldrin.
That's badass.
That's how they ended it. Oh, crap. That's amazing.
But I think we could all agree that nobody liked the story of the most important kid in the galaxy.
Yeah, that's the problem whenever you try to put a kid into anything. Like, unless you get like the best kid actor ever, which only ever happened in The Sixth Sense and then Kingdom Hearts. Like,
Secondhand Lions, but same guy. So,
like, and the kid's not a kid anymore.
Yeah.
You got to find a kid of that caliber to pull a part like that. They didn't have it. It's just not going to work. Like, I would have much rather them use your other human. I think that if they used, like, whether it was Ashley or Caden as the other person that Shepard would see.
Yeah, I actually thought that would work pretty well.
I think people would have been much more okay with that.
Yeah, if they had used the Vermeer sacrifice, they would have.
Because one of them is definitely dead, so there's no there. In fact, there's every reason why that should haunt you. But
now it is actually apparently I did like the fact that they used both the Shepard's voices and for the background voices for the kid.
Yeah.
When he talked it's also he's talking, both Jennifer Hale and Mark Meer are talking the same lines with him, and that was a neat effect, which is one of those things first, I didn't realize it when until I saw it in the indoctrination video. Went, oh, that's actually a neat idea.
Mm-hmm.
Whereas other times I went, okay, no, that's obviously because they were running out of time and they couldn't make brand new assets. Like when they mentioned how the final areas was very reminiscent to like of the collector ship or something else and some other things. But then again, everything, the catalyst is more or less OG Reaper tech.
Yeah.
And so is the Citadel.
Yeah. I don't know. There was some stuff, like some of the Reaper sound effects occurring like when you first see the kid, and that you suddenly have unlimited ammo actually made me go, yeah, you do. Like at the end, I mean, when you're kind of and everything's in slow motion and you've just got your pistol, but you have unlimited ammo, you don't have to reload.
Well, I really think that a lot of that is just that.
I think they're just going cinematic with it.
They're just going cinematic, and this is our ending that we've created.
And I'm like, well, actually, that for whatever reason, that particular thing did resonate with me because ammo is always such a pain in the ass in the 2 and 3. But
what is even better is that they had to make an overheat mechanic to it again. Out of nowhere, just for the ending.
Just for the ending.
Just to screw with people. I think I would have liked that. Add that to the DLC about where you have my permission.
Yes.
But I really do think what the DLC will end up being is, I think, very similar to the Chrono Trigger ending that Alan mentioned. I think it's going to do a lot more explaining what happened and what happened afterwards. I think they're going to give us a little bit more context, which I think is what the ending as it is really could use.
Do you think that just because it became so popular that they might incorporate the indoctrination theory, or no, that is just too...
I could see them doing it, and if they incorporate it correctly, that'd be kind of interesting.
Because my theory of how you could do it would be interesting is, since we're totally in spoiler territory, you know how Miranda's father was working on indoctrination?
Yeah.
They mentioned that Anime Space Ninja stole a bunch of his research. You could, if you wanted to do the indoctrination ending being true, have a side mission that before you go to the Cerberus base, you can track down that information and basically find a way to make yourself immune to indoctrination. And thereby, basically, if you do that mission, you can basically trigger the new endings. Because now, like, if Harbinger tries to indoctrinate you in that last point, you'll then be immune. And thereby, they can do new endings. If they wanted to do that. That is how I would have done it.
I would also accept that if they decide to, eventually at the kid, Shepard realizes that, no, this doesn't seem right. And she pulls out this drill that was attached to her neck and then twists it into the catalyst kid, and he dissipates. And then she jumps into her giant robot. and then the robot's actually like as tall as a Reaper. And then she proceeds to single-handedly punch every Reaper into oblivion.
Then you find out that the Citadel is actually a giant robot.
Yeah. And then they both put on shades.
Yeah. Now here's an idea.
Oh, that's another thing. The Matrix, the video Reloaded, the video game, had a brand new ending where they had pretty much gigantic Neo and gigantic Agent Smith. You were Neo fighting a gigantic Agent Smith who took Coca-Cola, like the glasses from like a billboard, and put them on himself. And so that was the ending, was fighting a giganto crazy Agent Smith.
That was basically just based on the idea the Wachowski brothers saw at the ending of the movie would not make a good ending to a video game.
And then, it plays with everyone cheering and Neo's happy while We Are the Champions are playing in the background. And that was the ending to the Matrix video games, which, and that's what they kind of called it,
Yeah.
The ending we get is much more almost traditional sci-fi, much more somber, not quite like, yeah, you beat it, everyone's happy.
There's it doesn't have a winner as you. Yeah.
Whereas they realized that they had to do that kind of ending because it was a video game.
Alternately, BioWare, do it like the Clue DVD version of the movie where it suddenly pops up. That's how it could have happened. And then let you play another, give you 4 or 5 different endings, including the giant robot ending.
Or it could be like, or like Prince of Persia, where maybe they cut to this other scene that's on like this, on the Citadel later on, or on the planet or something where they're all having drinks and they go, that's not actually how it happened. And I think that was a talking time thing again, because I steal everything from them sometimes. But yeah, I think there's
really what
ways.
Happened to Commander Shepard, Grandpa Buzz Aldrin? Nah, I'm pulling your leg, you little shit. This is how it ended.
I am curious if the people's speculation that one of the DLC will be the retaking of Omega.
That would be kind of cool.
That would be kind of neat.
They did, at least you could. I'd like to see more of Arya, but...
Well, the whole her losing Omega is a comic book that they're doing. In fact, if you got the collector's edition, you should have gotten the first mini issue of that, where it's more or less it's.
Yeah, I didn't read that, but I guess
well, the basic of it, since we're spoiler territories anyways, is that the comic tells you is that out of nowhere nowhere, this Cerberus sends a bunch of these ships that are full of husks, and they're doing crazy Reaper things, and Arya's like, what the hell? And this new team comes in to clear them out from Cerberus. She's like, what are you doing here? What's happening? And Elusive Man's like, look, we kind of screwed up, but we're going to clean it up. Don't worry about it. We'll need your help, though. And then secretly, and I think it might even have been Kao Ling or somebody else was like, haha, they don't realize our true purpose, which apparently was Cerberus is taking over Omega. But it would be kind of neat to go back and take Omega back. I think that would be neat.
You know, I don't know. Anyone else feel that maybe Kai Ling would have been better if he had shown up in Mass Effect 2 somewhere?
But
like,
he was
better as an antagonist?
Yeah. Oh, yeah. I mean, well, he's a novel character.
Yeah, I eventually found that out, but I just thought they were kind of setting him up. It seemed like they're trying to set him up as the anti-Shepard.
Yeah, no.
I just never really felt like he was. I didn't. Well, okay. Near the end of the game, I kind of had a personal interest in killing him, but like he just didn't seem like he was like either that or he should have been fucking with your plans through more of the game.
Like, yeah, he really came out of left field for me.
Mm-hmm.
Like, I literally thought, who's this dude and why is he not in the Matrix?
Either he should have been in 2 and set up a little, like, kind of telegraphed a bit more, or he should have been there all the time in 3. Like, anytime you ran across Cerberus, he should have been there, and he somehow would have made your life more difficult.
And apparently, supposedly, originally during the scene on the Asari homeworld, it was originally going to be a thing where it was going to be another Vimir situation where one of the crew members you take with you was going to die, and that you could save one of them, but whatever one you could save, he was going to kill the other one. And it was supposed to establish him as a much more menacing foe instead of a complete joke that he turned into being. And I wonder if that's what they're trying to do was.
But I think it would have just made people hate him more, because it's like, oh, not only is this lame space ninja all over the place, but now he killed one of my team members.
Well, and I think and he screws up so much.
Yeah.
Like, Thane says it great, where he's like, I can't believe that this guy thinks he's so badass, and I'm barely breathing, and I beat him.
You got taken down by a crippled old man or something, It's
terminally ill Drell. That's what he.
Yeah, terminally ill Drell. And it's like, yeah, I mean, okay, he did kind of. Like, I really didn't like Thane's death until I got to kill Kai Ling.
and he seems like it almost also feels like they were playing, like someone in Mass Effect team was playing Metal Gear Solid. It's like, we need a ninja.
Except he has to be Chinese.
Like, also, it's kind of weird that in retrospect, in this game at least, a lot of service members now also use swords as their melee weapons.
Yeah, that's true.
But he's like the only dude who uses a sword as a primary weapon in the entire universe of Mass Effect. Like, he's the only dude with a sword. And that is, in fact, really weird. Like, I didn't notice until a coworker Sam mentioned it to me. It's like, dude, he's the only person with a sword. Why is he the only person with a sword? Should there have been, like, more enemies throughout the games that use swords?
Well, he is basically kind of a really buff, whatever, the Phantoms or
Phantoms.
The other Cerebus guys with swords. He's basically a really buff version of one of those. But
it really did feel like this dude with a sword just kind of really came out of left field.
But when he shows up is when there tends to be a lot of the Phantoms. So
yeah.
I guess they're his guys, but girls, whatever they are.
Because I was listening to Fast Karate. Do you know what happens if Thane is dead in that scene where you're trying to save the Solarian counselor?
Yeah, it's a Major Kirei.
Yes! I thought that was an interesting choice.
Like, honestly, I wanted him as a crew member originally. I kind of still do. Like, I wanted him as a crew member. Also, like, if you choose the Solarians over the Krogans for Chachanka, and Rex is dead and stuff, it'll be Kirhei if he still lives. He'll be cheering on Solarian troops in that scene where Rex is cheering on Solarian Krogan troops.
Oh, okay, that's cool. Well, like, they thought of that, I guess.
Again, they thought of a whole lot of stuff.
Yes.
Also, until that last minutes.
I also find it funny that you can fight so many old teammates in that Cerberus base if you are a bad shepherd.
Yeah, like if you have Mornith, she's a banshee.
Oh, interesting.
If you didn't save Jack, she's also she'll be one of the Phantoms.
And if you sell Legion to Cerberus, he is also, you can fight him there.
Like, he's like a super Geth Prime.
Interesting.
Or in fact, that stuff in Tuchanka where, like, if you betray Morden, you have to, like, kill Morden to keep your bid with the Solarians.
Ooh.
And if Rex is still around, he realizes it, and you have to kill him too.
Wow, you could go through and murder most of your friends in 3 if you play your cards right.
Like, so in some cases, like, when you're a renegade, you're a really freaking renegade.
Yeah.
Like,
And you can kill the Vermeer survivor.
Yeah, that ain't cool. Although I totally killed Adina. That was fun.
I let Caden take the shot.
Well, I had Ashley, but in mind. But yeah, I honestly, I've been waiting for Udina to give me an excuse to kill him. So I never liked Udina.
Well, I had the game point out like nobody did.
Yeah, like
I mean,
okay, well,
it was either Keith David played character or Udina, and so who was everybody going to side with? Really, seriously,
yeah, really. And Udina's a dick. I mean, even if
Even in one.
even when presumably he wasn't under indoctrination, he was still a dick.
I don't know if he was ever indoctrinated. I think he was just wanting money.
Possibly.
Like, I think he was just a tool. Like, I think the only people who were truly indoctrinated was the elusive man, Magic Space Ninja, and the rest of Cerebus. But I don't think Udina was ever indoctrinated. I think he was just an ass.
Yeah. And how about that Blasto, the Hanar Spectre radio drama action?
Yeah.
That was pretty awesome. I had to listen to that whole thing.
Yeah.
Badassly.
Badassly. God, I would watch that movie. Why aren't they animating that instead of Vegas Story?
I would play a DLC if I got to play a Hanar.
Yes.
I'm just saying. I also want to play a mini mission that's more or less a Star Fox mission where you're playing the Volus spaceship. That's just the Volus, the Volus crew, where they bought one ship and then piled it with tons of guns on it
Yes.
and called it their fleet. I would love to play a mission where you're just getting to play that as sort of like a Star Fox thing.
Yes.
Like fly and beat up some Reapers. I know you got the engine BioWare. It's in the freaking old Republic. It's one of the coolest things when you can play Star Fox with Star Wars.
Yes.
Just throw that in with some Mass Effect stuff. Just give it to me. I'll pay you $5.
Oh, do you
I'm
think
sure you
that,
can make it $5.
do you think that any of that rumors about the DLC patch for the multiplayer with those classes, you think that is real?
I haven't heard of this, so enlighten me.
Apparently they were supposedly possibly leaked pictures that one of the first DLC for multiplayer will be a bunch of new classes, which is Batarian Soldier and Sentinel, Geth Infiltrator and Engineer, and Asari Justicar and Krogan Battlemaster.
I'd buy it. I'd try those out.
Yeah.
Those sound like fun. I don't know if they're real or not, but I'd do it. I'd hop on that.
Yeah. Why not? But yeah, I don't know.
I think if they play their cards right, and I think with the multiplayer, they did a really good job with it. Unfortunately, I think the way that they did their unlocks, while deviously for money making, is just so devious that it's going to make the multiplayer overall not catch on. Like, I really think they played their cards right. This could be the new Zombies mode. This could have been the new thing that they would keep playing Mass Effect for.
Yeah, I wish they had a store where you could just, like, if you want to unlock Krogan Sentinel, it's 3,000 points. And they still could have sold credits to make their money. Either get the credits in the game or you can buy them with points. And it would still been, but I feel like the CCG pack is just aggravating.
What I think they could do with that, I think they could balance it where, like, you still can buy points, right? You still buy credits if you wanted to, if you so chose. But instead, like, you can have the card packs and they'd be cheap as they are, right? Or you can buy that stuff, like you said, like you just buy piecemeal, a la carte, but it costs more. That way, if you want more for cheaper, you can take the risk and do the CCG packs.
You get the grab bag crowd, and they exist.
And then if you want specific things and you're willing to pay more for it, whether it's credits or cash for real monies, you can do so. You have that choice.
Yeah,
I think if they give you that choice, I think that would work out.
Yeah, because I feel like there's certain things, like, once again, those, like, decent sniper rifles and stuff.
Yeah, I find myself thinking my kingdom for a better sniper rifle.
And and they sort of do it already with, like, with their specials that they do occasionally, where it's like you just need new stuff, you just need more, like, metagel and clips and stuff. Okay, just buy this stuff. We're making this thing, you buy it, you spend it, you're good. And I think if they do a DLC patch that sort of overhauls that store a little bit more, I think it would help them in the long run. But yeah, I think they play their cards right. It could be the new horde mode multiplayer that people play. Like, they could really do it. They really wanted to, because, my God, I work at a store and one can buy games. And the amount of times when people talk about Call of Duty nowadays, half the time, I'm not kidding, they're talking about zombie mode from, like, World at War and Black Ops. They're not talking about Call of Duty. What they want to play is zombies. And that's just an interesting take on horde mode, and that's what Mass Effect 3 multiplayer is. They also need a catchy name. They need to rename it with a catchy name that's isn't just called multiplayer. That you call it like, N7 or something. Call it the N7 missions or N7 multiplayer. So if someone goes, oh yeah, I love N7.
Well,
or some other name that they can use, or special forces or something that people can attach themselves to that's not just called multiplayer. And I think it would catch people's interest more because you'll have a neat name to attach to it.
I did hear talk that was originally Mass Effect 3 was supposed to be its own animal, and then the multiplayer was supposed to be a separate game.
That's probably what they did originally. And then they're like, okay, now we need to have multiplayer mode so we can legitimately sell an online pass. Because I bet that was an EA decision.
Yeah.
But okay. Any other thoughts before we start wrapping stuff up?
No, I'm good. Oh, what do you think about the whole Javik DLC controversy? Possibly being on disc, being the Prothean. I mean, once again, your guy's favorite character from this, of the companions.
I think it's a shame that people have to buy the best character in the game. That said, I have no issues with it being DLC. And I think they've pretty conclusively proven that while the character himself is on the disc, his actual mission and other stuff is not on the disc. Like the download you download, it's like almost like half a gig. So I mean, there's actual content there.
Right.
There's stuff that has to be there that obviously was not. I bet that this character was partially done before the game went gold, but wasn't completely done. I'm sure that they were probably originally, when they were making this dude, they had ideas for him to be in the game. I wouldn't be surprised if he wasn't originally I bet he was like I bet he could be on the ship, but he probably wasn't a full on.
Yeah. Probably either the mission is on the disc, but like all his dialogue and interaction is not, or vice versa. I
know for a fact that people before the DLC was available had Javik voice clips.
I'm sure there's some voice clips in there. What I have a feeling is, I know the fact that they could change code in the game on the PC version, and the character was just a choosable crew member. So I think a lot of it was on the disc, but some of it obviously was not on the disc. But my more or less my main point, my feeling is, I feel that he should not have been tied as a collector's edition character, but much like Shale or Zaid,
you should have got it for buying it.
You should have got it for buying it new, and if you bought it used, you could pay for it, and he came with the online pass. I personally feel that is the thing that they should have taken with it if they decide to do DLC. I feel that if they'd done that, there'd be less complaining overall. I'm
kind of glad I got a $20 credit from Amazon that I decided, well, the collector's edition of Mass Effect 2 is only $20 more, so I'll go ahead and get that. But that's really what made me do that.
Yeah, for me, I was already the collector's edition anyways, and so for me, it was just a bonus. That said, he is the best $10 value, that a lot of games don't have, because he's so well interconnected into that game. And honestly, Shale was the same way in Dragon Age 1. Like, Shale was my favorite character in Dragon Age 1. I took him everywhere. He was my favorite character in that game by far. He might actually still be my favorite BioWare character. In fact, if they had told me one of the upcoming DLCs that I get to play with Shale as a party member, it would just be me, Shale, and Javik all the way.
Okay, BioWare. Download DLC for Mass Effect 3. Shale and HK-49 bonus character pack.
No. Shale and Blasto.
Yeah.
Okay, yeah, I take that back. Shale and Blasto. Give me Shale and Blasto.
Or just give me a Blasto game.
Yes. Make Blasto the game.
It should be like It should be like Metal Slug.
Yes.
A 2D side scroller.
Yes.
Where you're on Earth through London, through the various stages, and it's a side-scroller shoot 'em up where you're beating up gigantic Reapers with Blasto.
And, enkindle this.
Yes. Oh man, the scene with Javik and the frickin' talkie jellyfish guy.
Oh yeah, I saw that. I think.
Yeah. Well, just Javik dealing with people on the Citadel was great. Anyways, we're gonna take a break, then final thoughts and our final scores after this.
The Reapers are destroying my planet!
Alliance News Network viewers expect us to do something.
Oh, we'll do something. Joker!
Yes, Commander.
Tell the Council we're forming a committee to come to a consensus about aliens.
Aye, Commander.
But Earth Clan, we're gonna be late for the Battle of the Bands!
Not accurate. According to my calculations, we can defeat the Reapers with rock and roll, beat Cerberus in the Battle of the Bands, kill all Reapers simultaneously. Efficient.
I like that babble talk. Mass Effect, tune up!
Now I know why they call them biotic amps.
Barla!
1, 2, 3, 4.
Peace, Commander Shepard. Space crime fighting and rocking the galaxy. Garrus, Troll, Rex,
Keyboard,
Tally. Watch out, here come the Reapers. Reapers, Mass Effect.
So, in the end, what was your favorite spot on the Citadel?
Ooh.
My favorite spot on the Citadel was anywhere where Joker was cracking wise.
My favorite spot on the Citadel, and not so much on the Citadel. My favorite part is where I killed Kai Link. I punched his sword and stabbed him. Told him it was for Thane Krios, you son of a bitch.
That was not on the Citadel, like, at all.
No, it wasn't. Not at all.
What's your favorite spot on the Citadel? I asked you a specific question.
Yes, it's my favorite spot on the Citadel.
Mine is the club, because some of the best interactions come from there, whether it's Vega, Jack watching Shepard dance, or when Edie and Joker are both deciding who is bangable.
I actually kind of like the hangar with the refugees. There's just so much going on with the people there, and it's it kind of brings the war into focus, and kind of a very sentimental and heart wrenching as opposed to comedic thing.
It's true.
And you already took the dance club, so
it's very true. And man, what was that freaking dance on the wall? That Shepard would do. Like, it wasn't like man, like,
I know it's one of the one of the random dancers kind of doing something weird up against the wall, but I don't know.
Nobody's gonna pick the place on the Citadel where you can take the shot with the renegade trigger.
I'm not sure if I know where that is. But...
if you don't take the shot, then the Vermeer survivor does.
Oh yeah. If you don't take the shot, then the Vermeer survivor does. We're doing that.
Oh,
then they'll have a discussion of whether they should have done what they did. So it's a neat little moment. But really, the best spot of the Citadel is the spot where you let Garrish think he's awesome.
Yes,
but he is awesome.
It's true. Now, speaking of awesomes, all right, guys, how many awesomes out of awesome is Mass Effect 3? You can't use multiple of 3.
Can't use multiples of it?
No, you can't use a 9. Can't use 18. Right out.
Yeah, it's going to make reference to 3 space babies. But
not 54.
Okay.
Nope. You can't pick red, blue, or green either.
Not red, blue, or green. You're limiting us a lot.
Okay. All right, fine. You'll be able to do it a few weeks from now. We're going to have downloadable DLC where we'll talk about our color theory. How about that? Does that make you feel better? Does that make you happy?
One very dead, annoying space ninja of awesome. Except being on an inverse scale, so 1 is actually best. But
I'm gonna give this game a 91 out of 100% galactic readiness.
Okay, all right. Now what's the scale for the fans?
Oh, the fans of Mass Effect?
Yes.
I give them only 1 out of a quad.
Ooh. 1 ball to share among you all.
Isn't the darkness find them?
See, I was originally going to have 2 shards of broken sword from the flunk out ninja. I can't do that now because you used the ninja.
Believe it.
And now I can't use 1 spot Citadel for awesome because we just talked about our favorite spots in Citadel. See, I can't use 6 crew members because I'm multiple of 3. Screwed myself on that one. But there are 7 actually with the Prothean. So I'm going to give all the moments out of awesome for all the little things that made Mass Effect 3 amazing.
Yeah, a special bonus, 2 awesomes out of actually homosexual characters to romance.
It's true.
But didn't those options just merely existing automatically make you homosexual for playing the game?
No.
What?
No. Only homo gay people say that.
Yes.
I see.
Or are retards, or any other epithets I can use that piss people off. BioWare fans think that way.
Yes.
Apparently that's a bad epithet now.
Yeah. Heck, although I still wish, Rex and Male Shepherd get together. That's if I had one wish.
But even that would be more badass if he had the female Shepherd.
Well, yeah, if it was female Shepherd, I'd wish you could hook up with Tally. But
screw that Eve. Oh man, that'd be awesome. Which Shepherd did you play with, Alan?
I played female Shepherd.
Okay.
So we all played female Shepherd.
Well, as I like to point out, she may not be canon Shepherd, but she is correct. I won't lie. At my store, whenever I have an opportunity to flip the cover art around, I do it. So if I get as many female Sheps on that wall as possible. And I guess that's one thing we haven't really talked about. Well, we went through it pretty quickly, because they're patching it. Is the whole? Did anyone have problems with the whole face thing?
No.
My eyebrows came out a different color when I imported the face. Other than that, no. I could just edit those back.
Yeah, mine was perfect, but I ended up choosing the default Shepherd because she looked hotter.
This was actually the first good default default female shepherd. So yeah.
Cause I also realized that it was pretty much my shepherd, only redheaded instead of blonde, and I like the redhead look, so I was like, all right, let's go for it.
I modified my shepherd each time, so I didn't really have any problem with that. Although I started out with redheaded shepherd, but her name was Bazette, so when I could have the purple hair in 3, I switched to that.
Well, there you go.
I somehow missed that there was a purple hair option. But then again, I didn't fiddle with the settings much.
Was there a green hair option? Did I miss that?
I don't remember. I just remember being thrilled that there was finally a purple haired option, so my Bazette could be Fate Hollow accurate.
Because I might have to like get some Macross going on here if I get green hair and like.
BioWare, if there's not green hair, patch it in.
I mean, you're patching everything else in.
Really, give us some hair and clothes. Don't just throw that in there.
I wouldn't mind more casual options. I mean, you had several, but I would not mind more casual wear options from around the ship, I'll admit. Okay, so before we go, any more DLC that obviously BioWare needs to make just for us?
Other than more aliens to play as squad members, and of course Blasto being a party member.
Yeah, aliens, including Blasto, the secondary Blasto level, the bolus level with the spaceship, the extra multiplayer, characters and classes, a Chrono Trigger ending.
Just to be totally funny, Final Fantasy 13-2 costumes to go with the Mass Effect 3 costumes in Final Fantasy 13.
You're right.
Just to be ironic.
Yes, I want to dress up my shepherd as Lightning.
That would actually be cool, but
and Rex's Snow.
Yes.
Rex's Snow, complete with the Jewish Holocaust. Okay, that's more of a Tally thing, I guess. That'd make more sense. But that's why I wanted it on Rex, because it'd make more sense on Tally.
Yes, there should be no sense involved. Any Final Fantasy cross contact with Mass Effect should make no sense whatsoever. The less sense, the better.
Maybe the ending, what they're doing is it'll be a time paradox.
Or oh no, yeah, see,
yeah, it's a time paradox, right, guys? And they go back so far back, it's actually Final Fantasy 13-2's fault.
And when you'll actually get the real ending for Mass Effect 3 and the good ending DLC for Final Fantasy 13-2. That's why they've got the N7 uniforms as downloadable content.
It all makes sense now.
You heard it here first.
So on that note, thanks once again for joining us, Alan.
No problem. Always a pleasure to be on.
And thank you for Kevin, because you don't get a choice in this.
He just showed up in my work and dragged me here.
You were shanghaied.
It's true.
He said I was going to talk about Mass Effect 2 and I was going to like it, or 3. And I don't know, he said there was talking involved.
And thank you for all of our wonderful listeners that are listening to this giganto epic episode of the OSMcast. And with that, we are out.
Badassly, goodbye.
You can't just use badassly for everything. You have to use other things, Kevin.
Hey, it worked for the Blasto story.
Pretty cool, okay. You could use, get a thesaurus, dude. Get a thesaurus, and if you're going to be an Elcor, you got to work at it. You just can't just go badassly on everything. You at least, very, somewhat badassly. Pretty goddamn badass.
Or roguishly.
Yeah, roguishly, yeah. What, suavely. Hey, baby, how you doing?
Sarcastically. I'm getting too old for this shit.
But seriously, we're out.
I'll break it down so you can absorb what you need to mine planets, minerals, and do it from orbit. Some good advice, and you're too much of a noob to ignore it. You'll get stranded with no fuel if you foolishly floor it. I used to rock microphones rhyming in the stadium. These days I launch probes mining for palladium. Slouching at my console, crying from the tedium. I contemplate relations with the slimiest of aliens. A specter and alliance and 7 special ops. Some things I scan are anomalous, but the rest are rocks. This shit is so boring, most men's souls would wither. Yo, but I ain't trying to get my tallies overblown to smithers. No doubt, I get it in with the erythium. Rhythmically click and launch probe, tunnel vision, and I'm mining for resources with the lowliest of purposes. I drag the scanner reticle slowly on the surface.
Probe away.
I'm Commander Shepard.
Probe away.
You want to see if I've got the minerals?
Probe away.
I'm Commander Shepard.
Probe away.
It's nearly got those
Hey yo, probe away. Foes know that probing may make me cranky, like Harkin on a sober day. Tally's research, hey yo, fuck a solar ray. I'll take a cane to motherfuckers, go straight Enola Gay. You can scan procedurally or just stop and meander. But if it's taking ages, doggy, stop with the scanner. You need to get a fucking upgrade. Talk to Miranda, she'll probably get up from her desk so you can stop for a gander. She's a skeezy hoe, totally elusive man. He don't believe me though. I oughta find his office, leave the geezer leaking hemoglobin. Although I know the brother brought me back from the dead, I feel compelled to put one in the back of his head. Anyway, fuck a prime directive, only amateurs enforce this. I'm strip mining planetoids, scanning for resources. Yeah, I get my scan on like a tampon.
Probe away.
I'm Commander Shepard.
You think first word
Probe
galaxy
away.
would
Way.
done it already since it's
You wanna see if
but I
I've
guess
got
the
them
task
in,
force
Ross?
Commander Shepard because
Probe
I'm
away.
I'm Commander Shepard.
Probe away.
It's nearly got those minerals.
Element 0. Launching probe.
This is valuable.
Iridium probe launched.
This might be useful.
Palladium launching probe.
This looks interesting.
Platinum probe launched.
We can use this.
Hey yo, Dr. Chakwas, I got a spare bottle of Saracise brandy at my quarters if you care to join me. Bitch!